How do you deal with entitled in-laws as a woman in a family? I'm glad that you specify as a woman, because men deal with in-laws differently. And I think we need to ask our men how to pray over our head to get the anointing. But this is a reality, and this has caused a lot of home to wreck, unfortunately. And for that, that's one of those things that prayer is really a good tool to use, because each person, each situation has its own um, approach. You cannot group the whole in-law family together and say, they are like that, they are like this. That's throwing the baby with the bathwater. Sometimes one or two bad apples will make the whole basket of in-law rotten. And that's not what you want, because you don't want the whole in-law family to gang up against you. What you need, on the contrary, is an ally, one or two allies in your in-law. You don't need many people in your in-laws to champion you. You only need one or two allies to champion you. So when you get one or two and they are the one actually agreeing with you with the behavior of their own family member, sometimes they are the one going to take on the battle for you. And they will be the one defending you and telling that person to really back off. You see? So when you are preparing to get married, you got to put some links, binoculars in your in-laws. I know a lot of us married abroad, even if sometimes we married within our own tribe. Sometimes we can find a tribe member, a schoolmate, from primary school. We left a long time ago and we reconnect, and we are abroad and we marry. Okay, so sometimes we don't have a chance to get to know the family in depth, to know them. Okay, or sometimes we marry out of total strangers, so we don't know them. You see, but when you finally come together as husband and wife, you have to check them. And one thing that I want to really say is, before you get married, please get to know your in-laws. Get to know siblings. Get to know aunts or uncles and aunties, because you cannot marry and you know nobody in your in-laws family. That's dangerous, because you can be shocked out of life. So once you meet your in-laws, or before you meet them, do some background check. Conversation, loving conversation. Don't do an interrogative session with your husband to say who is a liar or whatever. You don't do that. You just strike a very nice, wonderful conversation after you have prepared a beautiful meal, the one that he loves the most, and you start talking about families. You see, so you can bring up your own family first. Start talking about people, and then you ask questions. Okay, what do you think about this aunt? This is the way my aunt did. This is the way my uncle did. This is the way my cousin is behaving. What do you think? You see what I mean? So by the reaction, then you can then strike, the other side of the conversation. Say, I hope that you don't have a James in your family. You don't have you see what I'm saying? So by asking these questions that are, it not really direct, like confrontational, direct to say, I hope your family are not going to bother us. I hope your mother is not going to be mean to me. You don't say things like that. Okay? You don't say things like that. You strike a conversation and you start talking. And you say, I know my mom will get along with your mom, because my mom, I know my mom is very nice. She's a nice lady. She get along with people. I know. And then you see what I mean? You start a nice conversation, okay? Then you things that are very important to you that you don't like. Because for instance, you don't like un unwelcome guests. You don't like people to show up in your home. Okay, here in America, for the most part, abroad, someone cannot just show up. Okay, they have to tell you somebody got a visa, they are coming, you need to go pick them up from the airport. Okay, but if you happen to be in a country in Africa where someone can take a bus and just show up in front of your house, if you don't like that, before you get married, you need to address those issues. And one of the things that I wanted us to talk about is marriage contract. Before we get to that, let's address this issue. So entitled in-laws are in-laws that think that if it's coming from the wife, they think that the bride price the men pay is not enough. They think that the man owes them all his salary as long as he's married to the daughter. They think that they can still tell the daughter what to do. They think that any money, any needs that they have, the daughter has to answer, because now she's a married woman. So if they need a car, she needs to tell her husband to get them a car. There are parents like that who think the son-in-law is a cash cow. And then you have the other way, that they think that because you are married to the son, you have to do the laundry of the whole family. You have to anybody can come to your house, and any female of that family can come to your house and collect your clothes, pick up your shoes, stuff like that, or come anytime in your home. Before you get married, set boundaries. Set what is the marriage contract is an understanding that you have with your husband. Even the word is a binding contract. The word is a binding contract. Nowadays, it's difficult to find men that keep the word. It's difficult to find men that are truthful to the word. It's difficult to find men that are honorable to the word. Even in churches, we find the most con artists that call themselves husbands in churches. We see it. There are some men who go to church and they are married in one country, they are married in another country, they have a wife in this country, but they say they are Christian. You see, so it's not easy, but again, prayerfully, the Lord will lead us into the life that we have chosen to have. So for entitled in-laws, the two of you have to come together and realize that what that in-law or those in-laws are doing is an entitlement, and it's not rightful, and it's not beneficial to both of you. Because it's only you that has that view or that appreciation, and the other one does not share that view, it's going to be difficult to sell it. It's going to be difficult to sell it. So you have to have an understanding in what your family unit will accept and will not accept. You have to set your limit. You have to set your quotas. For instance, at the end of the month, we can only send $250 to each mothers in Africa. We agree on that and we stick to it. We are not drawing 500 to send to one mother without the other one knowing, because it's my own mother. You have to set boundaries. You have to set quotas. You have to set limits in all of that. So to be able to solve that issue of entitlement, it has to be a shared value, a shared concern, rather. It has to be a shared concern. Because if it's not a shared concern, you have to rethink it. Rethinking it meaning what? What do you call entitled? Redefine entitlement for yourself first. Why is my husband or my wife not agreeing with me when I say that his sister is, crossing my boundaries? Are those boundaries his boundaries? So you have to come in agreement about your boundaries and your limits. So this question is going to ask required a lot of wisdom, because what you consider entitlement can be considered exaggeration by the other one. Say you are overreacting. That's a big word. You are overreacting. She or he is not acting like he's entitled. This is my brother. If he wants my car, he can use my car. You see what I mean? So if the fact that your brother-in-law is taking from your husband too many times, and if your husband does not feel that, you have to ask your husband, what does he think about the consequences? For instance, how about if the car breaks down? He's going to need to repair. Is his brother going to repair, or he himself going to repair? You have to bring the consequences of the entitlement, what you consider entitlement to start with. Bring those consequences to him or her, for the most part to him, and let him agree that it is really an entitlement. Then you ask him, what does he want to do about that? Because if you yourself only consider entitlement and he doesn't agree, it's going to be a frustration to you the whole time. You have to bring him into what you consider entitlement. And to do that, bring him the consequences of the actions of the others. And ask him if he's willing to pay the price of the consequences. Most part, they are not. But they just swallow it because it's family. But if you bring it to him and you say, you are going to be responsible for the consequences. By repairing this car, you're going to spend $2,000, or I don't know how much if it's in Africa. This is the money. We will not have to do A, B, C, and D. Is that what you want? So communication here with a lot of wisdom is really important. But entitlement, like I say, is an appreciation that the person is giving that needs to consider what is entitlement for the spouse. Do the spouse agree with that appreciation? Okay, first step. Then the consequences of that entitlement. Then what action are you going to take about the consequences? This is the way I can, yeah. So I'm looking at the chat. It's always good for women to set boundaries with both families from the onset. That's right, I agree. If not, both families will be entitled, which is detrimental to the marriage. Yes. So like I say, have a contract. You must have a marriage contract when you start. The marriage contract is an agreement between the two parties. I'm going to give you an example. There's a couple that got married. The young lady is a daughter of one of those, the big guys in Africa. I think he's a minister of something in the government of one of those countries in Africa, in West Africa. She never saw the light of cooking and cleaning, never in her life. She married to a mama's boy, a real African boy who wants a real African wife, and they live at the abroad. And the young man saying that he wants to eat the food of his wife. His wife said, my mother is here. No, she brought her aunt, I think. Her aunt came to stay with her a little bit when she got married. And the young man said, no, I don't want to eat your aunt's food. I want to eat your food. I want to enjoy the food of my wife. She said, no, I told you before we were married that I hate cooking. I can't stand the kitchen. I can't stand the smell of cutting onion and all of that. I'm not into that. I don't like cooking. I can order food for you. My auntie said she doesn't want you, if you don't want her to cook, I can order in, but I'm not cooking. He said, no. To me, if you cook for me, it's a sign of love. I just want to be pampered by my wife. I want to eat your food. She said, no, I don't want to cook. I hate cooking. This became a big strife to the point they separated. Now, we're going to sit here and say, come on now, she couldn't cook even a spaghetti. And she says she won't cook even a spaghetti. Because I said, even spaghetti you can make. She said, I'm not making it. So the man flipped. He became something else toward her. He developed resentment. She also gave up on the marriage. They separated. And eventually, they got a divorce. So this, because she said, I told you before we were married that I'm not cooking. I don't like to cook. He said, but I thought it was just because, I didn't think that it was that bad. She said, I will not cook. So contract, what does contract do? Contract put those things in a serious note. Contract, write down those things down, and it becomes a serious issue. It's true that verbal agreement is a contract, but here she thought she was getting a verbal agreement from her fiance when she told him she hates cooking and she will not cook for him. He thought she was just, eventually she will grow to cook for him. What woman is married and doesn't cook for her husband? No, she said she was adamant. If this was written, there's a contract agreement. Look, I do not want anyone visiting me after 8 p.m. in my house. When I was single, this was very important to me. As a married woman, I still want my peace in my home after 8 p.m. I don't want your bodies to fill my living room at 9, 10, 11 p.m., watching a game, laughing and drinking beer and cracking jokes when I'm supposed to rest with my little kids or rest because I'm going to work in the morning. These are things you need to write down. You need to write those things down. And when you kick his friends out a couple of times, after 9, he will know that you were serious about that. You see? So writing those things down means that you mean business. you mean business. And it's not like because you want to be married that you're saying that, but it's because you mean business. And even if you are 10, 15, 20 years into the marriage, you will keep those because they are important to you. Now I'm going to stop here and we're going to go to the chat because I saw a couple of things flashing through. Okay, Brandy says, I like the contract aspect and agree with it. Rufy said, it's his own fault. He should have believed her. Yeah, that's right. Brandy says again, maybe he was hoping she would change, which is one of the pitfalls of a relationship. Absolutely. Absolutely. You see? So when you come in and you have a contract, say, look, Oga, I mean business. It is written. I mean business. It is written. If you don't think that, you know, not having your friend at home is not important to me, I'm writing it down. It's important to me. I don't mind hanging out with your friend. You know, it's Saturday, Sunday, you can hang out. But when Monday morning, I need to go to work, I don't want anybody after 9 in my house. Very important. So talking about contract, that's what I mean.
I think
Now,
Brandy had another question. Two questions.
yes, Brandy, go ahead.
I think she wrote it up a little bit up if you scroll up.
Okay, let me see. I didn't see it. Where is it? What's your question? Can you read it? I don't see it.
It says,
do you see it?
It says, if boundaries were not set from the onset, how would you advise going forward in the marriage, Mama Seka? And
Okay.
Then,
Okay, so you can always fix things. And that, again, we're going to go back to drawing from our spiritual well. We will draw from our spiritual well because he can fix a lot of things for us, all things, our whole life. Okay? So what we do is whatever that is not working for us right now, we have to prayerfully take it to God. Say, Father, I don't like this. I don't like that. I don't like this. I don't like that. I'm tired about this, that, and the other. Father, this behavior makes me sad. Because of what he did, I lost trust in him. Because of what he did, I am no longer able to, I don't feel loved by him anymore. So please repair me, heal me, because you have to deal with that from a place of healing. Otherwise, what we do, we women, we always try to fix issues when we are wounded. We want to address traumas when we have gone through trauma. We need to heal from the pain of the trauma first before addressing the trauma and being set free from it. So what we do, we take the pain and we go to God with it for healing. Sometimes we can even need to have a professional counselor to help us heal. Because when a trust is broken, believe me, when a trust is broken in a marriage, it's a wound to the heart, to the soul, to your body, to your mind, and to your health. So all of this affects your health. And the trust is broken in maybe infidelity, maybe, money disappearing from the saving account, maybe, you know, the family unit, for instance, ganging up with your with his family against his wife. That's another way trust is broken. You see, losing your security from your husband. I'm talking security, I'm talking about the women. Losing your security from your husband is a big heartbreak. Knowing that your husband cannot defend you is a heartbreak. So in a place like that, we have to pray to be healed. And we have to ask for wisdom. Once we receive the game plan, then we can follow that game plan. Life takes a lot of years. Life is not lived in 1 year. Life takes seasons. Life is not lived in one season. And then seasons repeat themselves. You see? So in everything we do, we have to know that time to get help is important. Please, young ladies, my daughters, my younger sisters, my nieces, I'm begging you, do not do marriage like our mothers did. Do not do marriage like we did. Please, seek help. Seek professional help. When you go to a professional psychiatrist or psychologist, it doesn't mean that you became mental. It doesn't mean that you have lost your mind. On the contrary, it means that you are so smart that you know that, I have reached a point, a breaking point. I need help. I need a source of strength to continue. Sometimes we go to our best friend. The best friend herself is broken. So the first source of strength is God. Is God. We have to develop a very strong life of prayer and a spiritual relationship with God, because that's our source. That's our wisdom. And that's our helper. So the thing we do when we don't have a contract and we are in marriage and boundaries are broken and a lot of heartbreaks and deception, all of that, we are here now, we start the reparation journey. We start the healing journey. We need that before we can see a new life. We need that before we can see something different. If we stay wounded, then the same thing will repeat itself. So let's get healed, and then let's seek wisdom. And we take baby steps, one thing at a time, one issue at a time. Sometimes we gather everything in, and then on a Sunday, we see that, okay, for the past 2-3 months, finally is home. The weekend is an opportunity. I have to release. You did that, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. No. He gets up, carry his load, and say, I'm coming. He's gone again. And he strives to make himself unavailable, not to deal with all of that. Because you bring in all of that at once. But if we women bring one thing, and that one thing we dissect, and we take one component of that one thing and we bring, it's like eating an elephant, one piece of meat at a time. You see, and we come with open-mindedness, with love, a heart full of love. You know, like I say, this platform is a healing platform for all of us. You see, it's not one person teaching or whatever. No, it's for all of us. It is important for us to come with a heart full of love. And at my age, I have yet started. I'm now starting my married life. Because each season brings something new. And you learn about yourself through your marriage. Because marriage is not focusing on the other. Marriage is focusing on you. How? You will ask me. Focusing on making myself better for myself. Because the marriage is the display of two people that are good, healthy, positively charged, and doing life together. So I have to make sure I am good, healthy, positively charged. If I don't eat well and develop diseases, what am I doing? I'm putting a burden on my spouse. Because I'm going to be sick. When I'm sick, I become a liability. If I don't heal my wound, my internal wound, I am not going to be a healthy spouse, a positive spouse, a good spouse to be around. I will carry negative energy and it's going to repulse the other one. By doing that, what am I doing? I'm shortchanging that spouse of a healthy marital life. So in marriage, what we do is fixing ourselves for ourselves. You cannot change, and I'm talking to my daughters, you cannot change a man. Take it from me. You cannot change a man. All you can do is bring a man to adapt himself to the beautiful you that is developing, evolving, and exploding before him as a beautiful woman inside and out. That's why when you get married, it's not time to start wearing wrappers and kabas and all of this stuff and walk around. I love wrapper because I grew up, my mom made it like it was a taboo. So when I got out of the house, I'm like, I'm carrying wrapper. So I love to wear, but my mother, she rose us up like, you know, I'm like, anyway. Otherwise, that's why I love to have wrapper around me, because I didn't have it. But anyway, it's not the time to let yourself go. No. I know there are some women of God who already talk about it a lot of times, but I'm bringing it into the question that she asked. If you did not have this contract, what do you do? You see, all of these have been broken from the beginning. All of these have been done wrong. How do you fix it? You start by fixing yourself. You start by seeking healing from the brokenness because you did not have a contract. You see, because you have to approach it from a place of healing. Okay? Once you find healing, then you can, by healing, some of these boundaries that you put can be amended. You yourself will amend that to accommodate your spouse. You see, you're going to find a place of compromise once you are healed. You're going to find a place where, okay, here I can let go. Here I can compromise. But here, no compromission. Here I am strict on this. So you heal first, and then you evaluate the losses and the brokenness, all that is there. What do I do with it? For instance, if it's a spouse that goes out and stay outside long past midnight, comes home at midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and it's not because he has this kind of jobs that makes him stay, and it's a spouse that works 9 to 5, yet you don't see him at home until 1 a.m., midnight. Why? If it's your boundary, you need to have dinner with your spouse every night, and you were not able to set this as a contract, and it has been broken, you have to heal from it first. And then you approach to request, for instance, a dinner maybe once a month. Can we eat as a family at least once a month, or a weekend a month? We have a family dinner. You start there and you compromise. You start there, you start healing. You start there slowly, 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 because marriage is not a year. Marriage is a lifetime. And the longer you stay in, the better you sharpen the stone, and it's shiny, and it's shiny, and it's shiny. This is how you can see old people still being married, and you think these people have a wonderful marriage. No. For the most part, they have put in the work. Disappointment. How many marriages have a contract? Very little. But they reach 20, 30, 40 years because they had to sharpen it. Sharpen it. So take your time to go through this season where you did not have a contract and things were broken. So take your time. Tell yourself it's going to take time. I have to be understanding, and I have to be patient, and I have to put in the work. It is about you. It's about me. In a marriage, it's about me first. It's not the other. It's me first. It's about me. Now, if you married a liar, okay, or a violent person, an abusive, violent person, there are things that are flat out unacceptable because they are toxic to a point of being a danger to your life. That one, you have to consider putting a separation to get safety, to find a safety place. Because if you married a gangster, someone who is a armed robber, a Yahoo boy, 4-1, whatever they call them, that's a con artist. And a con artist can make your family like this overnight. You are riding all of these Mercedes-Benzes, living in mansion. You don't know what he's doing. He can tell you, oh, I'm a IT, but he's doing things behind. Once the Lord, because when you are a child of God, God does not hide things from you. If you become a child of God after you got married, the Lord will show you who He is, because your life and the life of your children are in danger. He will tell you, my daughter, this is what He's doing. I want you to do A, B, C, and D for your safety, the safety of the children. Otherwise, you can be in a mansion with all of this luxury. Overnight, he is arrested, and the government comes and seizes all the properties. You become homeless in a shelter overnight. What you going to do? So that's what I had to say about that.